Next news. Breaking news.
Trump walked into the G7, looked the entire globalist machine in the face, and said it out loud. "I'm the boss." That line hit because everybody watching knew it was true. Not Emmanuel Macron, not the summit bureaucrats, not the paper shufflers who spent years apologizing to Tehran and bribing enemies with American cash. Donald Trump commanded the room, drove the Iran story, and pulled every camera on earth onto his podium. Then he twisted the knife even deeper. He said the Europeans think he was right because he was. And when he brought up Barack Obama's $1.7 billion cash payoff to Iran, he didn't just reopen an old scandal, he exposed a whole rotten era. Now, this matters because foreign policy is not a cocktail party for washed-up establishment hacks. It decides whether your country projects strength or invites bloodshed. Trump just showed the difference in one summit. Barack Obama flew $1.7 billion in cash to Iran on a Boeing 757 and called that diplomacy. Trump stood on the world stage and told the story exactly how Americans remembered it. Tehran laughed, pocketed the money, and treated Obama like a fool. That disgrace did not stay overseas. Weakness never stays contained. It drives oil spikes, empowers terror networks, and teaches every cartel boss and hostile regime that Washington can be rolled. Now look at the contrast. Trump said he personally pressed Xi Jinping not to sell anti-aircraft weapons to Iran. And for the most part, China backed off. That is deterrence with muscle, not lectures. Then Trump tied the whole mess back to our own border, saying Mexico has lost control and the cartels run the country. He's right. The same failed class that sold the Obama-Iran deal also spent years under Joe Biden leaving the border open while criminal networks metastasize. Strength protects American families. Globalist weakness punishes them. And speaking of strength that works in the real world instead of empty slogans, let me tell you about something that grabbed my attention for the same reason Trump's leadership does. You've probably seen the clip of Joe Rogan sitting with Mel Gibson talking about people close to him who went through serious health struggles, then saw dramatic turnarounds. Rogan brings up light-based therapies and how they impact the body at a cellular level. Gibson says it straight, the stuff works. And that got my attention because in my own life, I watched something very similar unfold. For a long time, my wife was dealing with constant discomfort and anxiety. It was one of those battles that wears you down. Then I found Jonathan Otto and red light therapy at myredlight.com. We gave it a real shot, and the change was unbelievable. If you want to try it yourself, use NNN25 for individual items or NNN30 for bundles. Real results beat empty talk every time, whether you're fixing your health or fixing our broken world order. Now back to the part the regime media can't spin away. It wasn't just that Trump said, "I'm the boss." It said every major network on the planet proved him right in real time. The image collage from France showed CNN, MSNBC, Fox, ABC, CBS, Al Jazeera, News Nation, everybody all carrying one man live as he laid down the terms on Iran. That matters. The world cameras did not chase a committee. They chased the man in charge. And that's the perfect setup for the tweets we're about to throw on screen because the audience spotted the same thing instantly. President Trump walks in the room and says, "I'm the boss." Love it.
Hello, I'm the boss. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, President. Dear colleagues. So we have a photo.
Oh, yeah. Would you like to stay for the meeting? It's okay with me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You can hear him ushering out the press. Trump walks into the G7, making it clear who's in charge next. He says those European leaders knew he was right all along.
You've seen European leaders interact very warmly with you at the summit. Do you think that they're coming around to your worldview?
Well, I think they think I was right. I'm sort of always right. You know, when you get right down to it, I think they think I was right. They feel good. Now all of a sudden they all want to be involved. There's no reason to have them because it's pretty much over. But they all want to be involved. He'd be involved if I wanted, but we don't want to waste his time or his people. No, the European leaders. The meeting we had today was just the leaders. I don't even say the European. The leaders that we had met with, in addition to the 7, we had quite a few come in. They all were willing to get involved.
So after saying the leaders are finally coming around, Trump turns to one of Obama's worst foreign policy disasters. He's about to unload on that Iran cash deal and what Tehran allegedly said behind Obama's back.
But nobody could have made this deal. I mean, the JCPOA done by Obama, he handed him $1.7 billion in cash, gave him hundreds of millions of dollars, gave him billions and billions of dollars, but he gave him $1.7 billion in cash, green cash from banks, into a Boeing 757 and flew it into Iran. And they stood at the plane. I have pictures of it, like, oh my God, look at this money he's giving us. He tried to bribe his way out. I didn't do that. Nobody mentions that. $1.7 billion and hundreds of millions of dollars. They tried to bribe their way out of it. And you know what the Iranians did? They laughed at Obama and they said he's a stupid son of a bitch. Okay, thank you very much.
Oh, that's the direct hit on Obama payoff politics. Now Trump widens it out. Says Mexico's government is losing to the cartels.
60% they're down, and now we're going to go and focus on the land. They come through Mexico. Mexico has lost control of their country. The cartels run Mexico, and it's sad. And the president's a very good woman, but she's a very scared woman. The drug cartels are totally running Mexico.
Wow. After calling out the cartels for running Mexico, Trump shifts to the bigger global fight, about to reveal how he got Xi to hold back support for Iran. President Trump reveals he's respected.
China, President Xi, I was with him, and he stayed neutral, totally neutral, and I appreciate it. And I want to thank Vladimir Putin. He was very neutral. They could have made it much more difficult for us. And I want to say it. You know, somebody would say, oh, that's terrible. He's thinking President Xi of China. Well, let me tell you, I had a long talk with him. You know, they have shoulder weapons to knock down airplanes. That it's not like the real deal, but they're accurate. They're fairly accurate. I said, I would really appreciate you're not giving or selling any of that stuff to Iran. And you know what? For the most part, he didn't. So I just want to thank them because they made it a lot better.
Can you explain, though, what...
So while the media push panic, Trump says he used raw leverage to keep China from making things work next. He highlights the room and jokes that J.D. Vance gets the blame if the Iran signing blows up.
Some element to this where you send the vice president. If it works out, great. You look like a genius for sending him. And if it doesn't work out, it's the vice president's fault.
I like that idea, sure. What? This way, if it works out, I'm going to take the credit. If it doesn't work out, I'm blaming JD. You better be careful, JD. He's going to turn his plane around and get the hell out of here. Yeah, I like that idea. I think it's a good idea.
So even with the joke about JD taking the heat, Trump's still driving the deal. But next, he shows he's not handing out blank checks to anybody, including Israel, saying they could do better with Hezbollah.
And you'll see that when you see the agreement, but it's appropriate that we release the agreement. And we did send a copy to Israel, by the way. They've been a good partner. Again, I think they could do better with respect to Hezbollah. I'm not saying they shouldn't protect themselves. I'm saying when 2 drones are shot into the desert and drop harmlessly, you don't have to knock down buildings in Beirut. They could behave better. And frankly, they could do a better job. I love them as a partner. They were terrific. But they could do a much better job with Hezbollah. On that, I don't think they're doing well. And I feel very bad for Lebanon. Lebanon's been, it was a great culture. They had the professors, the doctors, the lawyers. It was an incredible culture, maybe the highest in the Middle East for years and years, centuries. And for the last 50, 60 years, they have been just trashed. They have been living in hell.
Wow. That's classic Trump. Back your allies, but tell the truth when they're off course. And while every network fixates on his Iran remarks, the next shot shows just how locked in the world's media really was. Look at every single network broadcasting Trump's remarks today. Every outlet carrying alive the message was obvious. Trump was the center of the summit. Next, we see him leaving after what his team called a highly successful G7 run. Wheels up for the palace. After dominating the summit and heading out of Geneva, Trump keeps moving from Air Force One to Paris to dinner with Macron before coming home. Nobody represent our country better than 47. And President Trump signing the Memorandum of Understanding at the Versailles Palace. So here is the moral hit, and it lands hard because the details are so brutal. Barack Obama sent $1.7 billion in cash to Iran and called surrender sophistication. Donald Trump stood at the G7 after freezing out escalation and pressing Xi Jinping not to make things worse, and told the world that the old deal earned America contempt. Then, he topped that with an unforgettable line from Tehran's view of Obama, a stupid son of a bitch. Crude, yes. Accurate, absolutely. Because our enemies do not respect weakness wrapped in polished language. They exploit it. And Trump's "I'm the boss" wasn't just swagger floating in empty air. It was the summary of a summit where he dictated the pace, boxed in Iran, and forced the whole failed establishment order to sit there and watch its doctrine collapse. So, take the full picture in. Trump steps off and says, "I'm the boss." Every camera on earth locks onto him. He says Europe now thinks he was right. He thanks Xi and even Vladimir Putin for staying neutral instead of feeding the fire. He hammers Obama's Iran cash disgrace. He warns that Mexico has lost control and the cartels run the country. He even tells the allies when to hit softer because strength gives a president leverage that weakness never will. That is what America gets under Donald Trump in 2026. A commander, not a caretaker. A closer, not a briber. And if Barack Obama's old Iran architects, the Biden era open border crowd, and the media clerks who sold both scams hate hearing that, good. They earned the humiliation. So drop your take in the comments if you're done with apologies and ready for more hard power, more border force, and more presidents who walk in and own the room and make the world adjust. And make sure you stay connected with us. I've read your comments. That's why I set up this number just for you. Text raw feed to 844-840-4963. Join the thousands of patriots who are bypassing the algorithm and getting notifications direct from me to their phone. And since there's so much winning happening, it's time to celebrate America 250. I want to celebrate with you. Check out the merch shelf below this video. Find some America 250 gear you like, or just go to shop.nextnewsnetwork.com.
The system controls information. Information control is power.
They don't want you to see this.
The truth only survives together. They don't want this. Share this now.